Hello and welcome. Today we are here to talk about the British, and so back to the bases with the British Army for Valor and Fortitude. Come and say with me. Hello again and welcome to the channel. Today we are here to talk about the last of my three armies, and so back to the bases with the British Army for Valor and Fortitude. The last one, but the first one that I started to collect. So, what about the British? From the beginning, British has changed a lot, and especially the thing has changed: linear tactics and disciplined musketry. The British are probably the stronger faction in the Valor and Fortitude, and let me say, is the strongest faction in almost every Napoleonic game that I saw. Anyway, linear tactics has changed a lot because before the 3.0 version of the game, British never can take assault column. Now they can, but they cannot launch assault, so they can use assault column to move quickly around the field, and this is good because marching column is very weak formation, and they cannot assault unless they are assaulting across a bridge or across a ford, and only to reach the enemy. So or attack an enemy that is in cover, and that will represent the fact that sometimes they take this formation, especially when they have to assault in raw ground, because assaulting up to the hill or in a wood taking line formation is quite suicidal, at least to take the cohesion of the formation. The other rules that changed, and in a good way in my opinion, in disciplined musketry that now works as before. So they rolled one to eat in shooting and in melee, but now only if they are the main attacker. So they are not so overpowered as before because they always reroll that. So it's quite as Helan. Helan is works only in melee. But it's good because at least during the Peninsular campaign, Wellington used the volley fire of their battalion to crush the French assault, so that's good. So moving to the option, British have quite a lot of option, but not as French. They have a foot guard, is the larger battalion, usually 30 to 48 minutes, but you can play with a regular 24 and pay the right point for this. And they are the best, 6 and 6. The rules are the same. They are very drilled infantry, no militia here, no underpower unit. All of them have disciplined musketry. All of them are skirmisher or light infantry, and square, set aside the detachment. And they have one of the best unit in the game, as the rifleman, same as the Jaeger for the Russian and the Prussian. Not sure that the Russian have a rifle Jaeger in Prussian as it. Then so essentially you have two kind of unit here: the line infantry and the light infantry. On the field they are pretty much the same, and as per rule the only difference is that light infantry, in this case here we have the 2nd Battalion of the King German Legion, they do not bring their flags with them, and they can go in open order and have the skirmisher role. So they shoot a little bit better, same tenacity as the line infantry, and a less melee. Essentially is like the leger. In terms of game, in reality, British have a light division made all of light infantry and skirmisher and riflemen, and then have a few light battalion employed in their division during the campaign or employed as regular infantry. In terms of game, when you deploy a light infantry, is the same for the French. They can screen your brigade going in open order, or be the battalion that can unleash hell in fire step. They roll 4 dice and reroll the 1 for disciplined musketry. So they are your main firepower source, or protect your main line of advance, as for the French. If I have to say a thing, if the British, the French should attack, and if they are not the attacker, there's something wrong. So the French should attack even when they are the defender. For the British is almost the opposite. They should turn an attacking mission in a defensive one. So it's a good idea to reach the objective, if you have objective to take, or a spot on the battlefield that you want to control, and then set your battalion in defense. British have some kind of counter-punch unit as the French. French have many options, from grenadier to guard, young, middle and old guard. The counterpunch for the infantry, for the British infantry, essentially are the guard battalion, which is practically the same as the old guard. And in my opinion, this is not fair, but it is what it is. They are really strong. The guard do what the guard did. They hold an objective, and with 6 of tenacity, they hold very, very long, especially because they are your counter-punch unit, so they, if you move carefully and protect them, they will not take earlier casualties, and so they will finish the job pretty well, or hold a position all time long. Other counter-punch unit could and should be the Scottish battalion. They historically are very aggressive. I always play my Scottish battalion here, the 44, the Black Watch, as veteran and elite upgrade. So they have tenacity of 5 and melee of 5. You can also pack some unit of grenadier, maybe a small battalion of grenadier as you prefer. Sometimes they were used in the peninsula or ad hoc formation, taking the same upgrade, or simply take one of your battalion, as I usually did, but not always, one of your battalion as a veteran, and maybe even with elite, to have some better counterpunch in melee. One of the strongest point of the British are the 95th Rifle Battalion or the 60th Rifle Battalion. Here I put down a small battalion, reduced one, with the 95th, but I always use at 1 per brigade detachment of 60 rifle. They essentially cover the same spot of the voltigeur, the French voltigeur, with the plus that they armed with rifles, so they have an 18 inch of range, and so they can reach the enemy farther than the regular infantry. Keep in mind that you can pack them together, emulating a light brigade, packing together your infantry detachment, but especially your light battalion. I have this one, but I have 1 battalion per brigade. They can be packed together to make something like the light division that take several action into the peninsula. And peninsula is my main and unique theater of war for the 28 mils. Commander Wellington Picton is the most iconic leaders for the British, but Wellington is an overall commander, so you have many options for other British commander. General 1, they have no special rules except if you use a regular trait, if your opponent agree, if your friends, your club agree with that. Now moving into real punch unit for the British is cavalry. You have essentially three units. Light Dragoon, here I have two units of Light Dragoon, and Hussars have the same stats, change the models. Then you have Heavy Dragoons, the heavy cavalry used in Peninsula, so I have essentially them. And the last kind of cavalry that I miss because do not use them in the Peninsula is the household cavalry, essentially guard on horses. They have 6 attack, they have 4 attack, the household cavalry have 8 attack. What make them strong, other than be cavalry and they are strong enough, is they have add strong. Add strong is a controversial rule in my opinion because it really depends on the outcome of the first charge. If you crush your enemy, you are forced to run into another unit behind the one that you forced to retire or crush. And this could be good if you came out from the first melee with few or not casualties, or this could be disastrous if you end your second charge in a fresh unit in a square or in another cavalry, fresh cavalry, that will probably crush you back because you cannot retire, you have one less die in the second effort. But sometimes, or better, if you carefully plan your headstrong charge, you will crush several, you'll be able to crush several enemy unit in one round of mad charge of this British. Headstrong will represent the tendency of the British to run down the enemy and charge headlong into another fresh one, and sometimes it will be a bad idea, such as the charge of the Scots Grey at Waterloo. But so it is what it is, so you have to cope with this and carefully plan your charge. I strongly suggest to make one light brigade and one heavy brigade, one brigade of light cavalry, and one brigade of heavy cavalry. As for the French, and take them as a counter charge unit or to finish the job, and as one to. I tend to play both the cavalry in the same way, so they can threat a flank, threat some light infantry, because they have a longer charging distance than infantry range of fire, or to counter the enemy cavalry. It will depend on the scenario and in your style of game. If you are very aggressive, British cavalry are what you want, but be prepared to have reserves, otherwise you will end without cavalry, and that could be a problem. And as for the French, I also made here a small unit for my game of Dragoon, using the Dragoons rule for the American Civil War and Renaissance. So a small unit that cannot charge, cannot shoot, but can dismount infantry, and then it's better than any cavalry detachment because they at least have a better survival. It could be used, as for the French, to keep out a double move with an earlier movement. They can be sacrificed to protect a flank, at least for a couple of turns, to inflict some casualty on one advancing unit and then retire, or even to protect the main block of cavalry taking some other incoming fire. So for their use, it's pretty the same as the French dragoon. And now moving in one aspect that both French and British have, so allies. If for the French I want some Polish allies and that's it, for the British in the peninsula I have two kind of allies. And I made a small brigade of 3 battalions, some are here, some not, of Portuguese, a line and column assault and the cazador, the equivalent of the riflemen. They have not rifle, they have regular muskets, but they are quite good as the 95th rifle, at least on paper. How to play the Portuguese? I use the Allies data sheets. Allies may allow to make whatever you want for your troops, putting generical guard, grenadiers, first and second line infantry, especially on this army sheet 3.1 there is the Peninsular War Portuguese just made. So with line, first and second line battalions, the first line is the best, Portuguese disciplined musketry, skirmish and square. The second line is less effective, but still skirmish and square, because they were trained by the British, and then they have liner tactics too, so no column of assault for your Portuguese. Otherwise, you can, if you want something less effective, maybe some fresh recruit or some Portuguese freshly put on the field, make them using general allies, and so you may or may not use liner tactics, and in this case you can have a column of assault. But in my opinion, if you go for the Portuguese, use them as effective army, a small effective army during the campaign to support your British. And still in the Peninsular, allies are Spanish. I also want a small Spanish brigade. I have some of them, just 1 battalion put down. Here I have 2 battalions of line infantry, the first and the second one. This one is the grenadier, 1 cannon and some militia to support them. So 1 unit of militia made with allies. I do not use the Spanish, but I will try even this. So I made this militia as guerrilla, and I have also a detachment of guerrilla to represent the people that rise against the French. And I'm planning a battle involving my freshly painted Spanish soon enough. Returning to the British, how to build a brigade. There are lots of information about to build a division or a brigade. In case, usually I play on division level. If I want to go historical, there is a lot of order of battle, and this is new to everyone. So I don't want to spend the time talking about official order of battle. For casual game, for hypothetical scenario, whatever you want, what I may say is that the British usually have division made to 4-5 battalion, and what I suggest in medium to small game is to have a brigade made of 4 battalion and a detachment, 1 attached cannon, and make 1 of your line infantry as veteran. You may have grenadier or Scottish or simply a line infantry veteran. In a larger game, when you are going to involve more and more miniatures, a couple of battalion of your guard could be the coup de grace to inflict to the French. For the small and light infantry, small or larger, you have two choices: or to make a brigade entirely made of light battalion, or split them into your main brigades. In my opinion, you should have a light brigade made all of your light battalion packed together, and even with this one, to use to harass and make early casualties in your opponent force, or to flank it, or to quickly run into a spot on the table, maybe a village in the center, a hill, and then hold as long as possible. If you decided to split the light battalion into your main brigade, use them as a screen for as for the leger, as for the small detachment here. For the commander, as I said, if you want to use trait Wellington as had good rules in the past, it can be activated. I suggest you activate it earlier than the other, so you can move where it's most needed on the battlefield and reroll activation. Picton should be very aggressive. It was very aggressive, so choose trait for make him aggressive and his infantry aggressive both in attack and in defense. Probably some of your commanders should be have some downgrade, such as timid or overambitious, that force you at least to take some hot activation, something like this. For the artillery, British have essentially the same option as the other armies. In Peninsula, at the start, in the first stage of the campaign, they lack the same amount of artillery, and especially the heavy one set aside the siege of the cities of the fortress. So field artillery and horse artillery should be okay. Horse artillery attached to the infantry, but also you can use horse artillery attached to your main infantry, using them as mountain artillery, so light gun that can be quickly moved in and out at the need and where they are needed the most. And with this, I handed the back to the basics for the British. I hope that people that maybe is approaching to the game or to the Napoleonic get some interesting information about this. And if you like, press the like button, and if you are not just subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, it will help. Thank you for watching, bye bye, happy wargaming, and see you as soon as possible.